I'm Scott Barnes, I'm manager of WMSR, and now we are moving on to the race for Manchester Alderman. And we have 4 candidates with us. We have Joshua Jackson Moore, we have Brian French, we have Roxanne Pat, and Chris Robinson. And I want to thank you all for being here. And again, thanks to everyone listening at home and for everyone who's here tonight at the conference center. We really appreciate you taking an interest in our local government and just our local area in general. We'll give each candidate 5 minutes for opening statements, and Mr. Moore, we're going to start with you, sir. At your convenience.
Okay. Thank you, Scott, and good evening to everyone. I'm a little under the weather tonight, so let me beg your indulgence in the outset. I'm Joshua Jackson Moore, and I've grown up here in the city of Manchester. I'm the son of Tammy Brothers Walker and Mike Moore. And I have 2 living grandparents, Linda Jackson and Irene Freeze, so you might know some of them if you don't know me. I came back to the area to live about 2.5 years ago to aid my family and help them out. And at the time, I resurrected an old family business, which at the time was known as Berlin Freeze Auction and Realty, and now is known as Freeze Properties. I don't do auctions, so we changed the name a little bit. And I'll try to be really brief. My campaign is focused on building a better brand for Manchester, both economically and otherwise. And I believe that the tenets of doing that are firstly to diversify and upgrade our local economy, particularly in retail. We live at a time, it's a global economy in a global world, and we have to take the leadership front in saying that we're a town growing, we're at the 10,000 resident mark, we're a little past that now, and the overwhelming majority of our industry is based in manufacturing and industrial. And while we certainly encourage that going forward, because it is a global economy, we need to change our thought process a little bit and look at retail development. We've done pretty well there. We've acquired the Home Depot and the Starbucks, and I think those are great building blocks for us as a city. And it is going to be a tough sell in the beginning, regardless of whoever is elected alderman, because we do have some pretty interesting economic times right now. Not necessarily recessionary times, as you hear people say. I think the problem is probably more inflationary. But it is something that we have to contend with, and so we're not going to have a boom immediately, regardless of how we go forward. But diversifying our local economy is going to be not only a key to future growth, but to prosperity and a higher quality of life for those who live in the city of Manchester. We do that essentially by building a brand. I like to talk about Bonnaroo quite a bit. That's something right now I think that we highlight for 3 days and don't look at the other 362 days of the year. Things like that and things like the Home Depot, these are the building blocks and the catalysts for which we can continue to grow and prosper. Another area where I think we need sort of brand change is in the face of our city government. As you go door to door and you talk to people going forward in this election cycle, even with a state representative race and a local race and a presidential race, you find a lot of apathy and discontentment among several people in the voting public. And that's very disparaging to me. So we need to garner fresh ideas and fresh perspectives and independent thought amongst our representatives to hope to correct that. And we're just going to have to do that the way that we approach recruiting new economies, and that's one person at a time, one business at a time. So economic diversity, transparency, and accountability in government are pretty much the tenets of my campaign, and I believe very strongly in it. And I'm going to need your help to accomplish that beginning this Friday. And of course, Election Day is August the 7th. And I'd like to thank WMSR for having us. Thank you for your kind attention, and most importantly, your being here and taking a general interest in what's happening in your city. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Moore. Ryan French, you have 5 minutes.
First, I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. It's a good attendance again, along with last week's forum as well. Everybody that showed up for that. I want to thank Thunder Radio and the Manchester Times for hosting the event. I also want to thank the Saturday Independent for participating as well. My name is Ryan French. I'm actually running as a write-in candidate. Most of you may have seen my little blue signs around town. I am the son of Brenda Hogan Thomas and Stephen French, the grandson of Jackie and Paul Hogan, and Pete and the late Patricia French. I was born and, of course, live here in Manchester. I bought my first house here around 5 years ago. And I am young, but I challenge everybody in this room to find someone that is as passionate and as involved in their community as I am. I've studied the issues, I've sought the opinions of the voters, and I feel that I am prepared to represent you as Alderman. Speaking of the word represent, I feel that over the years the government tends to stray away and lose the meaning of the word representative. Through the years we've seen agendas set forth not for the people of Manchester, but for special interests and those that are part of the good old boy loop. In the process we've seen tax increases to compromise these favors, and as a result today continue to struggle to balance budgets each and every year. I'm proud to sit here tonight as one of the few in this election that can tell you I have no special interest, no one to report to, and no one to ensure my vote to. The only interest that I will carry to each and every vote is that of the people that elect me to office. I don't have to worry about what some of my friends may think, what some of my family members may think, or even what my boss may think about my vote. My focus will be on what's best for this community and nothing else. It is important that we elect representatives that will take the agenda of Manchester to heart. When each vote is cast, it is important that a free-thinking mind cast that vote, that the vote be cast for Manchester and not for a favor or connection. 3 years ago, Manchester took a large step in the Alderman race towards change in this community. I am sitting here tonight hoping to continue this process. With your vote, I will do so. It is time that we move forward and break ourselves from politics that are based around special interest and the good old boy network. At first, when I was running as a write-in, I thought it would be a large hurdle to overcome. However, I've embraced this, and I've worked harder. I've met more people, knocked on more doors than I could ever imagine to start with. I have a web page, it's ryansreasons.com. I've had over 700 hits to my web page. It's been something that I've enjoyed. Every time I go and knock on a door, the concerns that I share, I find are shared by many of our citizens. The people are tired of political games and ready for results. It's time that we produce a product that justifies our high tax rates, and it's time that someone respects the hard-earned dollar that our citizens invest into this city. It's time for someone to step up and help lead this community in the crucial next 10 to 15 years. It is time that we see positive efforts and no longer